What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about Twisted Metal Season 2. Will it happen? Won't it happen? And the answer that we got from the showrunner, it's actually a very short and kind of simple answer, is they have no idea, right? So very up in the air. So I want to talk about specifically what he said and then talk about how we absolutely need a Twisted Metal Season 2 based off the review I did, based off, I think, people's reception of the show. I think a lot of people would be down for a Season 2. So let's read what he said. This was all kind of communicated through Twitter. People were asking about Season 2. I know I tweeted him. He liked my tweet where I said, you guys deserve a Season 2, and I hope it happens. It was pretty simple, and he had liked that tweet, and I honestly really do hope they get the chance to do a Season 2. Obviously, the strikes are such an issue, and that is a whole cloud of uncertainty right now, and then even when that's gone, then you kind of have to revisit it. So let's take a look at what he said really fast. This comes from Push Square. I actually have a problem with how they started this article, but we'll talk about that in a second. He said, unfortunately, we have no idea if Season 2 is happening, made all the more complicated with the strike, but I would love to do more clearly. And that was the showrunner, Michael Jonathan. Asked what the fans can do. He said, watching and sharing and word of mouth is always helpful, but being passionate like you are is already amazing, so thanks. And the thing I had a trouble or problem with, I guess, in the beginning of the article, they talked about, well, low expectations. That's totally true. I think a lot of people really expected almost nothing, including myself. I just wanted this thing to be like half decent, and it blew my expectations completely out of the water. But they said like low budget. The reported number for this thing was $72 million. Now, I don't know what the average television budget is. I do believe The Last of Us was far, far more than that, at least per episode, right? If you average it out per episode, this would have been around 7.2 million per episode. But that's a lot. I feel like it. Maybe I don't know, but I mean, if you tell me that a show costs almost $75 million to make one season, you put it on a streaming service, you put it on Peacock, do they make their money back? How does that even work? Do I even care about it? I mean, ultimately, I just want more Twisted Metal, right? So whatever numbers have to kind of work out in order to get us there, I'm all for it. In terms of the need, right, that we absolutely need it to happen, we do. Again, talking about the review, a quick spoiler for the end of this season, I don't mind it. I felt it was very, very Mortal Kombat-like. I had mentioned that in the review, where the Mortal Kombat movie was kind of its original thing, but it had, members of Mortal Kombat that we've seen before, and it ended literally setting up the tournament, and the tournament would be the second movie, which was filming right before the strike happened, right? So that's going to be the second movie. This is very much the same thing. Twisted Metal basically is this universe's equivalent to Mortal Kombat, just with, cars and vehicles and stuff, and this was setting it up, right? Original story, original couple characters, then obviously some characters that we know in the lore, some changes with characters we know in the lore, and then the whole point was to set up what will be Season 2, a literal Twisted Metal tournament. I think, look, I loved Season 1, as I mentioned. I think without a Season 2, it hurts, right? Without a Season 2, I think Season 1 will hurt a little bit more just because so much of that final episode and the lead up, like literally Raven's entire idea of what she was doing was to get him basically, or I guess test him first and then get him on her side, accepting this new life that he has and then say, okay, well, you're going to be my rider basically for the Twisted Metal tournament. That was such a big part of one of the 10 episodes and the finale that if you don't have a Season 2, I feel like that kind of diminishes parts of Season 1. But hopefully it happens. I mean, we're probably going to have to wait. Again, the strike's going to have to end, and then they're going to have to just revisit it. But I hope, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I hope no matter what happens, they at least see this kind of pleasant surprise. They may not be like thrilled that people were expecting this thing to be complete garbage and then like it surprised them. I know how that may come. Maybe it's disrespectful. Maybe it comes off the wrong way. But honestly, the trailers I think did this thing such a disservice. I think the trailers were terrible compared to the product because the product was awesome. What we thought this thing was going to be, the sneak previews, all that kind of stuff that we saw leading in, it did an absolutely awful job at conveying what the show was. So if you just didn't have that, maybe you wouldn't have had this problem in the first place. But again, like, what is this problem? Did the show do well? Hopefully it did. Now, as we've learned through this strike and all that stuff, really only the streaming services have all of the data. They're sometimes not even willing to share it with like the talent, the people who make it. So I assume it's probably a phone call or an email or something, and they just simply say yes or no. Like, yes, it did well enough with our back end numbers that we're willing to do a season 2, or no, it flat out, it didn't get watched, or it didn't bring in the subscribers we want, or whatever. We don't have the money, and we can't give you the money for season 2. It's either going to be one of those two things. So hopefully it's season 2. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. If you want to check out any of my other YouTube channels, our Twitter, our Discord, all the links are in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.